cool. But in addition to that, I also want to take a moment before we do the roll call to say how grateful we are to Senator Sawyer, Rayburn, Craven, Representative Tricia Cotham, and the Mecklenburg County delegation for everyone that supported the bill that last night the Finance Committee heard on this bill, voted it out of committee, and this morning the bill was heard in the Senate Rules Committee and was sent to the Senate floor, which passed it almost unanimously. So we are very, very grateful for the relationships that we've built and the relationships that made this possible, because I truly believe it is something that will change the way that our city grows and the towns and the county, all of us doing something that we really have been not able to have the funding to accomplish. And so we're really looking forward to the improvements that will be made for all of our citizens. So I know there's probably a lot of other conversation around that, but I wanted to just acknowledge that first and foremost. So I'm going to call the Metropolitan Transit Commission meeting to order, and we will go with our voting members. And I'm Vi Lyles, and I serve as the chair. And we'll go ahead and go around.
Good afternoon. My name is Lee Altman. I'm a Mecklenburg County Commissioner serving at large.
I'm Rusty Knox, Mayor Davison, and I'm Vice Chair.
Brent Cagle, Interim CEO, CATS.
Brad Thomas, City Attorney's Office.
Brad Simmons, Mayor of Town of Mint Hill.
All right.
David Phillips, Mayor of Pineville.
All right. Let's see. We have Pineville. I always put Brad and Brad together,
Yeah, right.
so you guys can always come. One person will always get it. Where's Brad here? Brad. DC Brad. Okay. We're working on that. DC Brad. DC Brad. Okay. We will go ahead. We've got this. I think Emily will have it, and so we'll look at her list and get it all kind of ironed out. Thank you very much. So I think that we have a very short agenda, which I expect most of us will agree that it's appropriate at this time. So let's begin with our approval of the May 28th, 2025 summary minutes. Do I have a motion and a second to vote to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please raise your hand. All right, thank you very much. Now we do have speakers on our public comments, and I believe that we will have Chris Wallace, who wants to come forward. Mr. Wallace, if you would come forward. You'll have 3 minutes. And good afternoon.
Hello, members of the Commission. As you may remember, my name is Chris Wallace. I'm a North Meck resident and transit dependent. I had originally planned to tell you all today about how I booked my CATS micro ride to work yesterday at 1:20 p.m. and got to work at 2:38 p.m. But then I tried to get down here today using it, and that turned into just as good of a story. So at 3:15, I began booking my trip to North Lake Mall's first stop, where the 7N goes, from Gilead Road in Huntersville. The app displayed a drop-off estimate of 3:46 p.m., and the 7N is scheduled to leave that stop at 3:57. At 3:18, my trip gets accepted. I get a text message that states my pickup will be 3:24 p.m. At 3:21 p.m., I'm sitting on my porch sweating in the sun, and I get another text message that my trip has been accepted and my pickup will be at 3:31. Go back to the app, and I check, and now my drop-off is at 4:01 p.m. So at this point, I'm already missing my bus. I call customer service because they've told me that calling is more effective than trying to cancel and rebook a micro trip. And while on hold, my trip updates again, telling me my new pickup is 3:50 p.m. and a drop-off of 4:15 p.m. At this point, while I'm on hold, I book an Uber so I can cancel that if dispatch is able to help me. They weren't able to, so now I had to spend $21 on an Uber to get here tonight so I could get dropped off at the Rosa Parks Center and get ahead of the bus. Because if I missed that bus and had to get the next one, it would have gotten me to the CTC with 5 minutes to spare before this meeting. This pattern of presenting times so optimistic they seem fairly made up is my consistent experience with the app after the first 2 weeks. I've been late to work more than 2/3 of the times that I've tried to use Micro to get to work, and that is with me booking 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour in advance of trying to get to work. I've missed an entire shift's worth of wages this month because of this. And I had to take off today to come and talk about this, so that's 2 shifts gone. The key here is that if the app had been honest about the pickup and drop-off times, or even the high volume from the outset, I could have booked a much cheaper Uber to North Lake Mall at the start. Or if it had told me that there was high volume, I could have walked over to the Park and Ride and grabbed a Village Rider because those haven't been canceled yet. While this isn't as structured as my usual feedback or complaints that I give here, it's kind of too hot to be formal, and I'm a little too pissed off about this. All we really needed was 30-minute headways and wider hours on the Village Riders to properly upgrade them to fixed route service. The demand you're seeing now for CATS Micro shows the latent demand for good public transit always was there.
Thank you very much for the comments. I am sure that we want to have better service, and we will continue. I think we'll have someone reach out to you, and we will talk about and how we can do this. And you know, without your notice, we would not know, and so we appreciate that. I mean, it's serious because we take this very seriously. Thank you very much. I also want to recognize Mayor Woody Washam has just joined us virtually. Woody, we'll go ahead and check you as being on the roll today. Thank you very much. All right. So our next speaker is Mark Tofano. Mr. Tofano, you have 5 minutes. 3 minutes, sorry. Council and this thing different. Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Commission. A wise person told me once that don't discard the good in what sometimes is a hopeless pursuit of the better. And so we're here to talk about the good, something very good. So what we want to do is try to fill the gap in time between the decades that it may take to run a rail out to Matthews and Union County, and to service the tens of thousands of people that come in from that area every day to get to work or transport through Charlotte. The amount of, in Italian we call it agita, the amount well, let's just put it this way, uncomfortable experience making that trip. By the time they get to work, they're more than excited and bad type of outlook, and it just is a waste of so many hours of their life every day. So what is the good thing? Well, when I'm talking, I want you to visualize in your mind a train, not a rail, but a regular old freight train. When it comes to an intersection, the lights go on and the arms come down and the train comes through. So imagine that, if you will, down the center of 74. We have 2 lanes going down through 74, and a bus would come to an intersection and through electronic transponders would trigger the lights and the arm, and it would allow the bus to go straight through. That's in the most extreme condition. There's also another type where just the lights go off and the traffic stops and they can just go through. So what does that do? Well, in conjunction with Park and Rides just right off of 74 and microtransit coming to the Matthews-Mint Hill area, that provides a total solution for providing as Brent Cagle, if I may take your expression, a enhanced express experience, EEE. We'll call it triple E. So this triple E experience is something that will allow people to commute fairly rapidly between Charlotte and those cities out in the eastern part of Mecklenburg County and Union County. A lot of people don't know this, but the 74X goes all the way out to the Lowe's in Union County now, and it would just be an extension of that. So The point I'm trying to get across is that for a fraction of the cost, you can almost approximate a rapid transit system. And it is something that I'm hoping that everyone here will consider because it is a good thing and it's something that can be a benefit to everyone in that area. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate the thoughtfulness that you've put together to help us understand better how we can address these issues. So thank you very much. So now we'll go to our report from the Public Transit Advisory Committee. Ms. Calderhead has the podium or the mic.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Mayor Lyles and MTC board members. My name is Alyssa Calderhead, Public Transit Advisory Committee co-chair. Thank you so much for having me this evening. And in the interest of time, I won't be reading my report this evening. However, to echo the mayor's words, I'd really like to use this opportunity to celebrate the advancement of the bill of the PAVE Act quickly and successfully continuing to advance through North Carolina legislation. And with that, I would really like to open it up for questions, concerns, or additional feedback regarding my report found on page 13 in your binder.
All right. So I think that, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to look at this, and if there are any questions that anyone had from the report, we'll try to make sure that we have a way that we can address this, as you can see. So I think this is up to us as we see how much work you're doing, that there are going to be opportunities for us to have this written report, and just like we would have with any other item on our agenda. So this is our first time out. We appreciate it. And we'll get more thoughtfulness around how do we get it up front a little bit more than usual. And we can share the questions, any questions that you have.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so now we'll have the interim chief executive officer's report.
Good evening, MTC. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I will try to keep this brief, but I do have a few announcements I'd like to make. One, thank you everyone who was able to attend the vehicle showcase. It is a great day in many ways, but one of those is when after about 2 years, we made a commitment to really significantly invest in the fleet. And those vehicles, you could see them out there and the product of those investments. I think it is great fleet. It clearly benefits the drivers who really, those buses, that's their office every day. That's where they work every day. It also benefits the passengers, and I think it's a testament to the investments we've made and will continue to make in upgrading our fleet and getting back to a normal replacement schedule. Secondly, I'd like to introduce Mr. Eric Osnes. Eric, can you please stand up? So Eric joined us, and I will be honest on this. I was supposed to introduce him last month, and I blew it. I begged him not to leave CATS because of my mistake. He did not, which I'm thankful for. Eric joins us as our Deputy Director of Safety and Security, or our Chief Safety and Security Officer. He brings with him experience from New York City. Eric, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Brent. It's an absolute honor to be here, and it's an absolute honor to be part of your executive team. I'm a longtime public employee. I've been in the field of safety and security and practiced this discipline most of my career at the MTA in New York City. My last position was with the Gateway Development Commission, which is a little project that's happening up in the Northeast, tunneling underneath the East River or the Hudson River to connect New York and New Jersey. If you look at all of my experience, it's really been about incorporating the principles of safety and security and making sure that those principles are embedded into the business processes. And Brent, I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to contributing to the mission.
Thank you.
Thank you
Eric.
very much.
Secondly, I'd like to recognize one of our longtime employees, key employee for myself, for the entire department, Paulus Ford. Paulus, would you stand up or raise your hand? Mr. Ford has announced that he is going to be pursuing other interests as he will be retiring at the end of this month. Paulus's career began on October 31st, 2005, nearly 20 years ago when he joined CATS. From that day forward, his journey was marked with consistent growth, adaptability, and a passion for public service. He went on to serve in progressively responsible roles, including administrative officer, and most recently as administrative assistant senior. That really shows, it only hints at the importance he plays in the office. He keeps all of us, myself and the rest of the leadership team, where we need to be and on point, and so we are going to miss him. Long before his time with CATS, he answered another call to service as a United States Navy veteran. He served proudly from 1985 to 1993 during the Gulf War and during peacetime, embodying the same values of duty and discipline that he brought to our organization every day. Paulus, we truly thank you for your service, both to our country and to CATS. So with that, I'll go briefly through the monthly statistics. Starting on page 17, we have the summary. In the bus operations division, there were 5 reportable incidents in May. 3 of these incidents resulted in minor injuries to passengers. In one instance, a passenger vehicle merged lanes in front of a bus, causing a minor damage to the right front bumper. However, 3 bus passengers did ask for medic assistance, and they were transported to the hospital for further evaluations. A bus rolled forward at a red light while the operator was checking a destination sign. The bike rack of the bus made contact with a passenger vehicle. There was no damage to the bus. One bus passenger did ask for medical assistance and was transported. A bus was stopped at a passenger stop or at a bus stop and was rear-ended by a vehicle. 3 bus passengers were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. In our paratransit division, there were no reportable incidents in May. In our rail division, there was 1 reportable incident in May. A pedestrian went around and activated safety device at 6th Street grade crossing, trespassing onto CATS property. The individual started running southbound on track 2 of the light rail, directly running towards a moving train. The operator applied the emergency brakes, was unable to make a complete stop before coming into contact with the pedestrian. This was a very minor contact. The individual fell down, but then stood up under their own power and departed from the scene. There was no damage to the light rail vehicle. On a ridership summary, on-time performance in May was at about 80% for bus service, consistent with previous months. 17.4% of that was attributable to late arrivals, and 1.8% were attributable to early arrivals. Our missed trips were tracking at just about 1%. I will note that on page 29 and page 30, you also have the included report, which shows you trend on both on-time performance as well as missed trips. Moving on ridership, our highlights so far, we have seen year-to-date increases across all modes, 6% higher through May of 2025 when compared to May of 2024. Bus rider continues to stabilize when compared to May of 2024 and is 3% higher year-to-date. Local bus routes decreased slightly, 0.4%, while local and regional express routes experienced a slight decline of 1% and 5.1%. Rail ridership maintained an upward trend, with the blue line experiencing a year-to-date increase of 8% and the gold line experiencing an increase of 31% year-to-date. Also, we were happy to serve special events over the last period. Love and Life Festival was held May 2nd and 4th. CATS did partner with Love and Life to help encourage attendees to use both the Blue Line and special bus service that we established for that event. This is the second year that we have done that, working with Love and Life, and I will say it went successfully the first year as well as this year. So we are proud of that. Microtransit ridership. CATS Microtransit continues its positive trend. During the month of May, CATS Micro served 3,715 passengers, with weekdays averaging over 130 daily trips. Ridership has risen steadily since February launch and increased 41% in May when compared to April.
Brent, quick question. What do you attribute the spike in the Gold Line ridership? Because the last 90 to 120 days, it's just increased exponentially.
Yeah, I think that two things. One is consistency of service. You'll recall a year ago, we were seeing headways routinely at 30 minutes, and now we are maintaining those headways or frequencies at around 20 minutes. That makes a difference with the streetcar. It makes a significant difference. The second thing is just that reliability, people understanding that it's no longer at 30 minutes, and now we're able to maintain that at approximately 20-minute frequency. So I think it's a combination. And with that reliability and that frequency, I think it creates confidence that you can use the Gold Line for special events or just for daily trips coming in and out of the center city.
Thank you.
And to follow up, are we now charging for the Gold Line?
We are not. We have been evaluating that. You will recall that we are in process of a fare study. We will be prepared to talk to the MTC about the results and recommendations of that fare study later this year or early next calendar year. Before we started a fare, we wanted to have the conversation about how we structure fares across the system and then implement fares, including the Gold Line, consistently across the entire system.
Okay. I hope we can do that as soon as possible, just because, I hear a lot of feedback from taxpayers who want riders to help foot the bill of the service. So I understand the wisdom of trying to integrate all that together, but thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I will skip to the sales tax report. I will also say, I think last month there was a little bit of confusion with the wording. We thought we did better this month, but I don't think we quite hit the target. So if at first we don't succeed, we'll try again, and so we will. Here's where we're at. We are tracking sales taxes below the original budget of $165 million forecasted. We're forecasting slightly below that $165 million budget number. But as we have adjusted our budget, current year's budget in the mid-year, the current projection is in line with our adjusted budget. So that's the long way of saying that while we are about $3 million under our budgeted projection, we have already taken action to ensure that that we do not have negative impacts at the end of the fiscal year associated with that $3 million shortfall.
Any other questions
want to know what adjustments.
about that? The sales tax, all right.
With that, I will wrap up. That is
Okay.
the end of my report. Oh, one other thing, I apologize. I'd also like to recognize Rachel Rowe, who is here tonight. She is a recent Leadership Charlotte graduate, and she, I was shocked that someone would do that, but she asked as part of the Leadership Charlotte program to spend the day with cats. So we were able to show her around the vehicle maintenance facility and talk to her about cats, and she was able to join us tonight. So thank you to Rachel and welcome.
It's a great program. It's a great program. So are you new to Charlotte?
This is my second time around living in Charlotte. I was here 2012 to 2014 for a corporate relocation. I got sent to Detroit, and then I came back in 2019 to go to grad school at Queens. Got my master's, and now I live in Charlotte because I work in communications for Wells Fargo here in Uptown.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Queens, baby.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a Queens grad, so I have been very, very fortunate to be able to be a part of that university. Okay. All right, so the next item on our agenda, there are no more additional action items. We have 3 informational items, and so we'll start with the van pool update. Elizabeth's going to take us through it.
It works tonight. Yay. Good evening, Commissioners. One of the services we don't talk a lot about is our van pool program. And so we've been making some changes over the last year and wanted to provide an update and share a little bit more about what the service is and where we're headed with it. And so for those of you who may not be familiar with van pool, it's really about a group of people who live in the same location, are headed to roughly the same location for work, and they share the cost of operating the vehicle. We provide them a vehicle, they and share in the cost of fuel, maintenance, and operations. And so it provides for a very cost-effective commute and provides a social opportunity also for folks that are interested in that. And it's a real complement to our fixed route system for those that may want to have a transit option and don't live near an express bus or a local bus or one of our train lines. So our current program, we have 24 van pools in circulation, serving 118 customers, and last year we provided just shy of 50,000 rides. The fares are based on the average daily round trip miles, and then the monthly cost is divided amongst all the riders in the van, and the more riders you have, the cheaper it is for each participant in the van. Most vans meet at a central location like a park and ride lot and go on to then a common employer or employer office park. Our van pool fares hadn't been revisited since 2012, and so pricing structure was a little bit out of line to where we currently, what it costs to operate a car these days. And the average fleet of our van pool program was 10 years old. And so given some of, particularly the age of the fleet and the fact that costs hadn't been evaluated, we went to look at our peers and what other transit systems are doing for van pool programs across the country. And several of them are partnering with an outside service provider. And so Commute with Enterprise is really the primary player in this arena. It's a subsidiary of Enterprise, the rental car program, and over 100 transit agencies or regions across the country work with them. And so what we are doing is that kind of outsourcing the program, so they will manage the day-to-day operations of the program and work with our customers. But as part of that, we get to, the customers get to will enjoy new vehicles, and then a new pricing structure where CATS helps to, instead of us now paying for the operation of the vehicles, will help subsidize the fare for participants in the program. We'll also be able to provide different sorts of fare structures for those that have hybrid work schedules and so that may not want to fully commit to a van, but want to take advantage of a van pool for maybe 2 or 3 days a week rather than a full week's ride. And then we'll also be able to offer a guaranteed ride home program. So say somebody wants to participate in Vanpool, but you never know when a doctor's appointment's going to come up, or you're going to have to go home for a child who may be sick. It allows them to get a ride home for free, and they'll have so many of those a year that they'll be able to take advantage of. And it also will provide more payment options for customers and flexibility in how they pay their fare. So it really is a win-win for CATS and the fact of how we'll be able to manage the program and look to market it. But it's also a win-win for our customers in the fact that they'll have access to new vehicles and some different amenities and pricing structures as we go forward. So this new program will launch on July 1st. We're very excited. We've already started transitioning the vehicles out and getting customers acclimated to the new service. And our goal is really to continue to grow the program and ridership within it, and work with businesses not only to offer Vanpool as an option, but also thinking about our past programs and what is our full service array in terms of fixed route, express and local bus, but then also having a Vanpool solution for those that may not be able to access our fixed route network. So I'll be happy to take any questions, but.
I was just saying to Mayor Knox that I remember when we started doing this, and it's like I've never even seen it since. So I think it's amazing that some place like Enterprise makes a decision. They see a place in the marketplace, and you see a place that you feel like it's the right way to actually enhance the system instead of it being just what it is always. So I'm going to open the floor for questions or comments about it. And Ms. Altman?
So I heard you say that we've had it for 10 years.
We've actually had the program close to 25 years.
25
It wasn't a
years,
program that was
a lot of
originated
years.
When CATS was formed back in 2000, but the pricing structure hadn't been revisited since 2012 related to that.
And so the launch in July, the date you just posted, that's for the new collaboration between Commute with Enterprise and CATS, is that right?
Yep.
And so how is the old Vanpool service different than what you're rebooting and relaunching in July?
It's not different in premise, but it's a new service provider. So people won't, if their vehicle breaks down, they'll be calling Commute with Enterprise rather than calling us to kind of switch and move out vehicles. There is a new pricing structure that goes into effect with it, and then some of the other program amenities. So as we think about hybrid work schedules and being able to offer hybrid or pricing, fair pricing around that, as well as the guaranteed ride home program.
Will riders be able to access it through their CATS app?
No, they sign up through Commute with Enterprise. So you really need a group of people either near where you live or where you work, and you formulate that van pool. So you need 4 to 15 people to participate, but somebody could call Commute and say, hey, I'm going from Salisbury to Uptown. Is there a van in service that I might be able to join? And we can make those connections as well.
So is the reason that the CATS logo is on the van because CATS is helping to subsidize the fare?
Yep.
Okay, so how much is CATS subsidizing this? Like, what's the financial model?
I can get you more details, but it's roughly 45% of the fare.
Okay, so you have to be a Mecklenburg County resident to be able to.
A resident, or the van either has to start or end in Mecklenburg County.
Okay, do you verify that people are residents and,
Yep.
Okay.
Well, the van either has to start, so the origin based on the mileage is either somewhere outside the county or it has to be inside the county.
Right, but I am interested that if we're subsidizing it, that we're subsidizing it for residents who are taxpayers here, not for non-residents coming here. Do we verify that?
So the vans work in both directions. currently. So it would be, if somebody's coming in and working here, they would have a subsidized fare as well.
Even if they're not helping to pay for it as a taxpayer?
Well, I guess, if they're coming to work, hopefully they're spending money as part of their day here, so,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Any other questions? All right.
All right,
I
thank
think
you.
it says go. All right. Who's next?
Next item.
Is the Charlotte, next item is the agenda is Charlotte Transportation Center, and Kelly's going to come forward on that.
While she's getting organized, if I may just do a postscript, I am a little concerned about that, and I was talking to my county manager about, like, for example, when people use county park and recreation, if they're non-residents, they pay more, as I think they ought to. And so I do have some concerns, even if it's someone coming here to work and spend money, that they aren't contributing to the maintenance of the program through their taxes. And so I would urge the CATS leadership to consider that, because I do have some concerns, and thank you.
We absolutely can do that, absolutely, with a follow-up.
I think that the staff has, if you can come back to us next month, would that be, or the next meeting, so that we can talk about it? I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, and not that they can't, but maybe a different price structure to account for the fact that they haven't contributed otherwise. Non-residents, I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
great.
sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Kelly Goforth, Chief Development Officer for CATS, and thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the Charlotte Transportation Center. So tonight I'll give an update on the redevelopment project, talk about safety and security, our retail tenants, the condition assessment that's been completed, and next steps. So in 2019, we received an unsolicited proposal for a joint development project to redevelop the Charlotte Transportation Center with a below-grade bus facility and a private overbuild. We also received a $15 million raise grant to support that project. But unfortunately, as you all are aware, that project was not able to move forward due to market conditions related to the private development, as well as cost increases for the proposed project. So currently, we're moving forward with some short-term renovations to the Charlotte Transportation Center, so we'll provide an update on that tonight. So one of the things we've been focused on is safety and security at the CTC, and these efforts have been focused in 3 areas. First area is education, and this is related to things like awareness campaigns for our passengers, like See Something, Say Something. We're also focused on engineering improvements or physical improvements to the facility, including the establishment of a fare zone, and that fare zone will restrict access to the transit center to ticketed customers only, as well as employees. We'll also, as I mentioned, be moving forward with some renovations at the CTC, and several of those will focus on safety and security improvements, including changes to access, lighting improvements, security cameras, and improvements to crosswalks. As part of that, we'll be closing our retail operations at the CTC in order to implement those improvements. And the third area, of course, is enforcement, and that's our CAT safety and security personnel working in close coordination with CMPD related to enforcing and taking care of enforcing fare evasion, as well as safety and security at the facility as well. As I mentioned, in order to address these improvements at the CTC and move forward with the renovation in the fair zone, we are needing to close the retail commercial operations at the CTC. We currently have 6 retail tenants. One of those tenants had a lease that was expiring and notified us that they did not intend to renew their lease, and the other 5 have been notified. The notices went out in May that these renovations were planned, which would require them to move. We will be providing relocation assistance to the tenants, and that includes relocation advisory services, as well as payment for moving and reestablishment expenses. Following their coordination with the relocation agent, we'll also be exploring some vending and canteen options for our employees and some of those employees that relied on retail, some of the retail opportunities available for their meal breaks. So we'll be looking at some opportunities to provide that in replacement. Next, just to give you a brief update on the completion of the facility assessment. So we've, of course, known that we needed to make improvements at the CTC for both our passengers and our employees. We have completed a condition assessment, and this condition assessment is also required by the Federal Transit Administration every 3 years for all of our facility. We have hired the architectural firm Gensler to help us with this condition assessment, and the interior and site assessment has been completed, and the substructure and envelope is nearing completion as well. We're showing here kind of the guidebook table, the way that they assess the various elements in the facility to identify the improvements needed, and as a result, they did conclude, of course, that we do need to make improvements to bring the facility back into a state of good repair. So the CTC was built in 1995, so it's 30 years old. So those need for improvements, of course, is expected. And as I mentioned, they did a complete assessment of the facility. That includes 2 pavilions, Pavilion B, which is next to the Blue Line light rail and provides that connection between the buses and the light rail, and then Pavilion A. And then the area in between is where the bus circulation and the bus bays are. So as a result of that condition assessment, there are several proposed improvements. That includes improvements to the site, striping, which is the fair zone being put in place, accessibility improvements, repairs related to drainage. We've had some flooding issues at the CTC during rain events. We'll also be replacing the lighting at the CTC, upgrading it to LED lighting, which will provide safety and security enhancements, as well as just an overall better environment for our customers. We'll be addressing improvements to the building and systems like HVAC replacements. And finally, interior refresh. So a lot of the spaces are in need of upfits. These are operator break rooms, the restrooms, and passenger waiting areas will receive a renovation. We'll also be assessing the additional space needs for our operations. So some of the spaces will be converted to CAT's operational use to give them more footprint to really be enhance the functionality for our operations. So in terms of the schedule for these improvements, we will be completing them in phases, and the first phase is focused on those immediate safety improvements over the next 6 months. So by the end of the year, we'll be focused on safety improvements, some changes in Pavilion B related to being able to institute the fair zone and addressing those drainage improvements. We'll also be doing a very intensive power washing of the facility, which will really enhance the cleanliness and appearance of the facility as well. And then over the next year, we'll be evaluating the programming needs for our operations folks and completing the design for the remaining renovation pieces. So that process will take about a year. We've already started some of the discussions related to the programming. And then at the end of that process, we'll have a complete package and schedule for those improvements, and we'll be sharing that with you all as we move forward. And then just wanted to note that during this process, we'll also have opportunities for our operators and other staff to provide input into this process, as well as our riders as well. That was, we made a presentation to PTAC earlier this month, and they noted the importance of getting rider input. So we'll have some opportunities through surveys or focus groups for that as well. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, so Mayor Knox has a question.
Yeah, Kelly, and forgive me if we've already discussed this in the previous meeting and I have it in the binder and I didn't pay attention to it. How much are we spending to help the vendors move?
So the process for the reimbursement of their expenses, they work with the real estate agent and provide them all the data they need to calculate the cost of moving, and the agent helps secure bids for the move cost, and they submit expenses related to reestablishment. They can choose to have a payment in lieu of a reimbursement, so the agent would also calculate that amount as an alternative, so they can choose either of those. So we don't have a complete estimate on all of that yet because the agent is still working with each tenant to calculate
The
that.
other thing, Mayor Knox, to mention is the relocation agent will follow the federal standard. There is a federal standard on this. It's the Relocation Act. And so we don't have exact numbers, but they will always be following the federal standard as required, as we're required to do that.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. There are caps to those amounts as well.
And I'm excited about the rehab and redo. I mean, I think at the end of the day that, we've had some unfortunate occurrences there over the past year or so, and I think I walked past there the other day, and I'll tell you, between our private security and CMPD, there were about 12 or 14 officers just kind of standing around there, so I felt very safe. But I think I'm not worried in that environment, but a lot of people can be, so I think that the measures that we're taking to enhance visibility, safety, and lighting and everything else are all just proactive measures to make sure that 40-plus-year-old entity is still viable. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Ms. Altman?
I, too, am excited. I think it's got good bones, lots of lighting. I'm very happy that there'll be a refresh, an interior refresh to repaint and clean and better lighting. I think we might be surprised at what an upgrade that alone will yield. So the improvements are expected to take a year total, I think I heard you say. So when are they going to kick off?
So the first phase of improvements will be completed by the end of the year, the first 6 months. The second phase is going to take a little bit longer. It'll take about a year to program it and complete design and permit it, and then we'll start construction. We don't currently have an estimate on completion of the construction. As we get further along in that design, we'll have that. So it's probably a multi-year process here.
Right, that sounds like 2 to 3 to be done. So how does this figure into the larger picture of the plan around Gateway Station? How much is this going to cost, and will it continue to be in operation when Gateway happens, or is this to be phased out when Gateway really gets created and utilized?
I don't think that we've actually had a conversation about what that would be. I mean, this project is absolutely so necessary. I mean, if you walk through, I walk through there all the time, and talk about power washing. Oh my gosh, you guys, it'd probably take you 3 or 4 years to get it clean. And I don't say that with humor. I mean, I really do believe it's that bad. And I think our drivers deserve something different. But I don't know that we've not talked about a solution or a change or how it should be done any further than this right now.
Right.
So I don't know when we will. If there's some ideas that people want to have or have questions about it, we should probably take those and make sure that you get answers for them.
Yeah, I guess I agree that immediately, as soon as possible, a rehab is in order for many reasons. But I don't understand what CTC is, in a hoped-for vision, how it's supposed to interact with Gateway. Can anyone shed light? If you can't, that's fine, but.
Yeah, so as we work with CTC and the Gateway developer, we are, in the original plan, right, regardless of whether or not we had fully rehabilitated, according to the original plan, was to make Gateway Station complementary to CTC, so that because we know we need a transit presence in Center City, in Uptown. And so that concept, we need complementary development with Gateway Station, has not changed. The original vision or concept of CTC redevelopment has changed, and we do not have a final answer on what that longer-term vision at CTC is. But we know we need a presence in Uptown, and that will always, or for a very long time, be true. And Gateway Station has always been envisioned to be complementary to CTC or to a separate transit center.
That's helpful. Thank you so much.
I think that's also including the train for Amtrak. I think it's really to be a transit center where you can have transportation like this, or the buses, as well as train at some point.
Thank you.
Hopefully. All right. Do we have anything else to? One item. Let's see.
Consideration to cancel July.
All right. Who wants to make the motion to consider that we do not have a meeting in July and August?
So moved.
But I like meetings.
You like meetings so much. I know. You can start it and be here all alone, right?
So moved, except for
We have a
Rusty. I'll
motion
change
and
my
a
motion.
second, except for Rusty. All in favor of that motion, please raise your hand. We need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you very much, David. So we have a second now, so all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Is there anyone that does not agree, or is there anyone in opposition to the motion? If not, I hope that everyone will have a great summer and take some time to relax, and look forward to the next time that we get together, which would be September. Okay, any other comments, or do we have any other statements or comments for this evening's meeting? Hearing none, I think we'll have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And we have a second on that one, right? Second, I second that. So thank you, everyone, for your attendance and participation, and have a great summer.